Welcome to Madame Raven's. This way to the library. She's been expecting you.
Keeper of the Necronomicon by Freddie Gran. My grandfather fought against the Nazis in the Second World War. My father fought the Viet Cong communists in the Vietnam War. I fought Al-Qaeda and ISIS terrorists in the war against terror in the Middle East. But my family has also fought another war for generations, a war against the armies of darkness, eldritch horrors, and evil men wanting the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, with pages made of the human flesh and texts written in human blood. It is my family's duty, working with the Order of Merlin, to keep the book out of the hands of evil as it has been for generations. The War on Terror. We were deep behind enemy lines in Afghanistan. Bullets flying through the air, explosions all around me and my squad. I was keeping my head down, trying not to lose it. My pulse was rushing, my heart pumping, but I had no time for anxiety. That and PTSD would come later. For now, I just returned fire. One of the terrorists ran behind cover. The other one I got in the kneecap. He would never run again. Alex, my best mate, was covering right beside me. "Cover me," he screamed. And I did as he rushed to the next cover. He took a grenade out and threw it over the cover to the hiding terrorists on the other side. It exploded and we could see a rain of blood falling down. "Great work, guys." Tommy, my squad leader, praised our efforts. "But don't forget about this guy." Jonas joined in on the conversation and ended the life of the terrorist I had previously downed on the sand with his loud machine gun fire. "Great work, guys," I said to the others. It was just the four of us against an unknown number of terrorists. The demon. We were approaching the enemy stronghold. There were 5 terrorists and 3 hostages, 2 women and a small child, a boy of maybe 7 years at most. We all decided on a target each and quickly killed 4 of the terrorists with straight headshots. Their exploded heads and brain matter were spread out on the sand. The last and final terrorist would be trickier, though. He was hiding behind one of the hijab-wearing women, using her as a meat shield with a knife to her throat and a small handgun pointed in our direction. Typical ISIS terrorist scum, hiding behind a woman, Tommy said. "Ha, you frickin' infidels know nothing. My name is Karim and I only use the Islamic State for my own benefit. God is dead. Allah is powerless. There is no heaven, only eternal suffering. I piss on the Bible and wipe my ass with the Holy Quran. What I seek is an unholy book of terror, the Necronomicon, a book made of human flesh and pain written in blood and suffering. My ancestor, Abdul al-Hazared, found it, and they called him the Mad Arab for it. But neither him nor I am mad, believe you me." Then I could see his dark eyes switch color to a bright yellow. It scared me, but my squad mates seemed unaffected except for Alex. It was as if only him and I could see what was happening. "That is not dead which can eternal lie. And with strange eons, even death may die." No one understood what he was talking about, except for Alex, it seemed. "Froglu McLean Cthulhu Reilich Waggin no Flagten." "What the freak?" Tommy screamed in anger. "What is he talking about?" And it seemed like a bunch of gibberish. A bunch of nonsensical terms, but somewhere deep in my mind it clicked, and it auto-translated. "In the house of Riley, dead Cthulhu waits, dreaming." I still did not understand. It seemed a bit nonsensical, but at least it was English, and not some alien language. I took aim at Kareem. I knew he was a thing of evil, and I had to end his life. I could see his eyes switch colors again, burning red with hatred this time, and it looked like the motherfricker had grown horns, like a demon. Demon or not, I only had one shot, so I had to make it count. I took the shot as Kareem was screaming for reinforcements. Keeper of the Necronomicon, Part 2. Church of Jens. So this Jens has his own church in the woods named after him? Seems a little egomaniacal, if you ask me. I don't recall someone asking you. He is the blood of Christ, as is you. The order will protect and obey you both. Why else do you think I've kept up with your annoying rambling? Percival was not a pleasant guy to be around. And I have deduced that one of you will be worthy of drawing the sword from the stone. No shit, Sherlock. Anything else you deduce? Well, elementary, my dear Jekyll. There is a traitor in the Order of Merlin. Very possible he is on this mission right now. But who it is still shrouded in mystery. Sherlock's words make everyone quiet. I thought about what my father told me, and at this point, I thought Jekyll might be the traitor. Him or Van Helsing, the quiet one. I didn't trust that one as far as I could throw him, which naturally was not very far at all. Well, no time to dwell on that. We are approaching the church in the woods. Jens and his believers should be here. Jens stepped out, one beautiful green-eyed blonde on each of his strong arms. Both had enormous breasts. I could see Jekyll the pervert looking a little too long. I was careful so my girl did not catch me looking. So this is the keeper of the Necronomicon I keep hearing about. Good job securing the book. The Order has been looking for it ever since the murder of your father. I suspect you're looking for this. He held out the compass, and it immediately began spinning. Weird. It's never done that before. Jens told the obvious. Not too clever, that man, but very handsome. God, I hated him already. Percival pulled out the expedition map and went to hold the map to the compass pointed at the sea. But there was nothing there, I said, confused. Oh, but there is, Sherlock said. The sunken city. The lost city of Atlantis. Cult of Jens. So we should see which of us two can grab the sword out of the stone. The one chosen by the sword will be the leader of our team and this expedition to Atlantis. We will go back to my church, and after the ceremony and festivities, to night me and my guardian angels will accompany you on your quest, be that as your leader or your follower. Do you sleep with both of those gorgeous twin sisters? Jekyll asked jealously. He was a thin and pale man with no muscle build, and his ribs were showing. He looked like a drug addict, spending all his night awake and never eating enough. Yes, of course. And I will have the pick of any women of legal age in my church. In fact, I take all their virginity as a birthday present. Only if they're pretty enough, of course, but most are. He laughed. Jekyll was so mad with jealousy that you could see his other half, the mad Mr. Hyde, trying to take control of the body. But Jekyll could subdue him for now, just barely. Perhaps the woman and her child should stay here. Father Callahan and the Templar Knights will keep them safe, I'm sure. Excellent idea. They need to rest. They must be tired for travel. I trusted the Templar Knights. It was Jekyll himself, or should I say Mr. Hyde, that I did not trust. Don't worry, we will be keeping them safe. The ghost of both my grandfather and my father appeared before me, sword in the stone. So, of our adventure we went deep into the woods. We passed a cemetery right out of the church. I deeply wanted to practice my necromancy skills, but alas, maybe later. We went deeper and deeper into the woods. The trees started to grow more thickly, and now there was so much dark we could not see the sun anymore. You could take your sunglasses off, I told Van Helsing. No, I'd rather keep them on, thank you. The vampire hunter was dressed in all red with a white cross on his chest, a red top hat, long dark hair flowing on his back. He wore a face mask over his mouth like he was trying not to spread a virus. Lancelot was drinking water from a bottle. He had removed his helmet, shaped like a lion, from his white armor. It got hot in there, so he had to drink a lot. Are we there yet? Lancelot asked, like some child in the back seat of a car. Elementary, my dear Sir Knight. I can see a sword lit by sunlight in the woods, and I suspect it the sword in question. After all, it seems unlikely that these woods should hold a second sword in a stone. I went over to the sword and tried to grab it, but I simply could not. Jens took the sword out with ease. He held it over his head. It glittered in the sunlight. It seemed to have some sort of magical power. He was surrounded by a hot twin angel on each side, one in black bra and G-string, and the other one wearing the same but in white. They were sexy. I presented Jens with the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, but when he tried to grab it, it grew teeth and bit 2 of his fingers off. It started to bleed. Oh, fuck! He was hurt. One of the angels healed his wounds. I think her name was Anna, and her sister Sanna, or the other way around. Well, this was an unfortunate predicament. Sherlock stated the obvious, wearing his SWAT gear complete with a bulletproof vest on. There would be a dispute on leadership in this group. But not now. My spider sense was tingling. We had company, and not the good kind. The Judas Order. We were surrounded. We are the Judas Order. Christ died on a cross, and so shall you. A nail gun shot spikes at Jens, hitting his arms and legs in the same spot Jesus was during his crucifixion. He started bleeding intensely. He swung the sword, and it shot out some kind of magic beam, cutting 3 members of the opposing cult in half. The green grass of the forest turned reddish from the blood. Sherlock was smoking a pipe in one hand, the other busy on the trigger of a 9mm handgun. He landed nothing but headshots until his clip was empty. That is when one of the Judas forces grabbed him by his gun arm and then chopped it off with a machete. Van Helsing had removed his mask and began to drink the blood spilling from Jens on the ground. He was a vampire. I knew it. But whose side was he on? I kept my AR-15 busy emptying out my magazine into the enemy horde. The angels were both flying high, raining down some type of magical lightning from their hands. It hit the ground and exploded like grenades. Arms and legs were flying through the air from the dead foes. Lancelot was rushing into the enemy troops with his signature lance in hand. He had put his helmet back on, ready for battle. His long lance penetrated many a foe until he was halted. Tentacles spurted from the ground, grabbing his arms and legs and making him unable to move. A man dressed all in black, with a black ski mask covering his face, began to laugh. He held a black pearl in his hand. It turned from sunlight into full moon eclipse. Some of the enemy horde started turning into werewolves. We were in deep shit. The man in black. Van Helsing seemed to be powered up by the blood of Christ. He was killing werewolves left and right. He was wearing black gloves that let his vampire hands hold the silver weapons. They shot silver bullets, but 2 6-shooters can only hold so many bullets. So after killing 12 beasts, he was emptied out, and a particularly big and fierce werewolf attacked and bit off part of his chest and began chewing on it. A demon horned and with dark bat-like wings flew up and attacked the twin angels. In one hand he held a shield, and in the other a devil's fork, a trident. The angels threw lightning at him, but he shielded himself. He stabbed Anna in the heart, and her sister Sanna screamed, mourning the loss of her twin sister. The demon laughed. Sherlock now had, one-handed, after the enemy had decapitated his right hand, smacked the enemy in its face with his pipe he'd been smoking, and holding in his left hand. The vampire face started to burn and melt, and it died, screaming in pain. I was standing by Jen's side, protecting the tall blonde man who was related to Jesus Christ. I had begun to suspect I was, in fact, not. I emptied out clip after clip and magazine after magazine into the enemy hordes, but they kept coming. The eclipse seemed to make them never-ending. If only we could get rid of that black pearl. And who was the man dressed in black? Judas Iscariot himself? And I sensed that Merlin had sent one secret agent with us. I could only hope he was really on our side. Sir Lancelot was ripped apart, limb after limb, by the enemy tentacles. The man in black grabbed Lancelot's head in his left hand, still clutching the black pearl in his right, and he closed his fist, turning Sir Lancelot's head into mush. The man in black unmasked the black pearl. His head was shaped like a tentacle full of eyes, and it had a mouth with sharp, shark-like teeth in it. I know who this was. Nyarlathotep. I could not see his tentacled son of a bitch getting his hands on the Necronomicon. I could sense the secret agent making a move. 30 silver coins is the price you sold Jesus Christ and your soul for, Iscariot. Sherlock threw 30 silver coins at the werewolf, munching on Van Helsing. It got penny-sized wounds, burning holes in its skin all across its body. Van Helsing grabbed a silver dagger and the beast's head and began to decapitate it slowly. Sanna, fuming with rage, threw one of her lightning grenades at the demon's face, hitting it, and it exploded, making the demon's brains roll down on the battlefield under it. She tried to heal her sister's wounds, but it was too late. So she instead turned her attention to Jen's and the blood of Christ. Nyarlathotep sent one tentacle arm against me, reaching for the Necronomicon. I could not let it seize the Book of the Dead. Seemingly out of nowhere, Nyarlathotep was decapitated, losing its left arm and the black pearl. This was our chance. Several things happened quickly at once. It struggled with the tentacle. Van Helsing rushed for the black pearl. Sherlock kept shooting pistol on hand. Jens was healed by Sanna and grabbed the Excalibur. The invisible man was the secret agent Merlin had sent with us. He stabbed Nyarlathotep in its ugly tentacled face with his invisible dagger. Jens cut the tentacle with Excalibur. Van Helsing stabbed the black pearl with his silver dagger, destroying it and ending the eclipse. Sunlight turned the werewolves into regular men and turned the vampire Helsing into dust. He gave up his life, saving us. Jen sent a force blast from the Excalibur blade, cutting Nyarlathotep in two. Sanna got dressed in Sir Lancelot's armor, and after that buried her sister. There was nothing left of Van Helsing to bury, so he put his ashes in a glass bottle that Sherlock kept on him. The enemy horde scattered. The battle was won. In the distance I could smell the church burning, church in flames. Sherlock's arm wound was healed, but his arm could not grow back. Santa had Lancelot's armor. Jens had Excalibur. Anna was buried in the ashes of Van Helsing was kept in a glass bottle. Sherlock kept it in a chain hanging around his neck. The Invisible Man had joined our team. He was sent in secret to spy on our team, but I decided to trust him for now. We had gotten the magic sword and kept the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, secure, at least for the moment. We rushed as fast as we could to the church. I could smell it burning. So you might have figured out. You are not, in fact, the blood of Christ, as we had been told. It leaves a question, though. Who are you really? And why can only you touch the Necronomicon? Well, elementary, my dear Sherlock. I had it figured out some time ago. And who I really am? I simply don't know, but I think my ancestors are less holy than Christ. Of that we can both agree, Sherlock smirked. Well, Invisible Man, do you know? And who are you, anyway? Can you please show yourself? I don't trust a man I cannot see. Well, I hope you can trust a naked man, then. The Invisible Man revealed himself in a double entendre. Frick, you don't have any invisible cloak to cover that up, I told the mysterious man with his wiener out. I don't mind. And it had to be a pretty big cloak anyway, Santa said, enjoying the sight. Oh, I think she wants to enjoy that baguette at our next church orgy, Jen said. What the crap? You guys have orgies? Merlin never let us have any fun parties. And my name's Mr. Wells. Well, I don't think there's going to be any more church orgies. In fact, there will not be a church left standing when we return by the smell of it. And what is it with all that weird sex stuff anyway? I asked Jens. Well, I am the blood of Christ, and I might as well enjoy it and have some fun, Jens told me. We got to the church. It was standing in flames, with smoke coming out of the burning church. Father Callahan stood with a group of Templars with swords raised at Jekyll, now completely transformed into Mr. Hyde, and Abdi, the boy, was transformed into his demon form, choosing sides. What is going on here? I asked. That priest tried to touch me, so I accidentally lit the church on fire, Abdi said. The boy pointed at a priest standing there with a burn mark on his arm. Somehow I knew the boy was telling the truth, so I just shot the man. Stand down, men. The boy speaks the truth. I was abused by the same priest when I was younger, Jens told. I guess that messed him up and made him start with the orgies? Hyde? I wanted to see if he was going to be trouble. It appeared not so, because he turned back into his human form, Jekyll. I was just protecting the boy, he told me. Seems like Jekyll and Hyde could be trusted. For now. Well, the genius have a submarine waiting for us to take us to Atlantis. There's another church along the way where we will drop these people off. Sounded like a plan, so we started going. A new challenger appears. Under the ruins of the church, a Frankenstein-esque monster was being built. It looked like the famous movie version. Green skin, flat head like a Neanderthal, bolts in its neck. A mysterious man pulls a lever and the monster is hit by lightning. It's alive! It's alive! But the blood of Christ will not be alive for long, nor will the keepers of the Necronomicon. I will get the Book of the Dead. All hail Yog-Sothoth. His eyes see all. Yog-Sothoth knows all. Suddenly a storm blew up, like out of nowhere. The rain made the invisible man somewhat visible. We all rushed into the next church in the woods. We had traveled all day, needed to rest and eat and sleep. And next day we would go to the genius and his submarine to travel to the lost city of Atlantis, an underwater city. Safe heaven. We were well rested after a good night of sleep. Me and Lubna even got some good loving in after her boy finally went to sleep. We all gathered at the dinner table. We were offered the best food and drinks. Jens, of course, did the old turning water into wine trick. He was such a show-off. I was looking around. One of the dinner guests seemed sketchy. It looked like a man, but I could see its eyes, iris, shifting colors, yellow, black, green, etc. It seemed only I could detect it, however. Must have been my heightened sensibilities because of my powers. Whoever's blood I'm related to. No nuts, please. I'm allergic, Sherlock told the girl that kept trying to offer him nuts. The strange man approached slowly behind her now. She insisted on offering Sherlock the nuts, even though she knew he was allergic. I could see Sherlock beginning to have trouble breathing. The man grabbed her with one arm. With the other, he grabbed a bottle of vodka and broke it on her head. She took out a hidden dagger from her sleeve and cut the man in his chest. But its green skin started to heal immediately. In fact, it was no man at all. The shapeshifter turned into its true form of a lizard man. I am one of the Illuminati, a secret society of lizard people. We rule the world in secret and keep the humans safe from the cephalides and squid people and other eldritch abominations. Sana had rushed over to Sherlock's side and began to attempt to heal him. I am Clover, an assassin. The young girl stabbed the lizard man in his right eye. It screamed in pain but did not let go of her arm. It placed the arm near its face and began to chew on it. She dropped the dagger, and blood kept pouring from her wound and ran down the creature's razor-sharp alligator-like teeth. With extreme swiftness, she put her left arm in her pants pocket, grabbing a pill and swallowing it. She fell down on the ground in convulsions. "Who do you work for?" the lizard man screamed at her, demanding the truth. But the girl was gone. He searched her body and found one ring with an M insignia. The lizard held it up under the lamp light to everyone to see. Sherlock's face darkened in fear. No, not him. Anyone but him. A knocking sound was heard at the front door of the church. It was the Frankenstein monster trying to break in. Old enemies. I grabbed my assault rifle and unloaded the entire magazine and shoot it through the door at the monster. I can hear him moaning in pain but alive. I shot the grenade from the grenade launcher attachment on the rifle, and the grenade hit the door and exploded. Wood splinters flying through the air everywhere. One of them even grazed my cheek and drew blood. I wiped it off with my thumb and tastes like... You drew first blood, monster. But I will draw last if you have any blood left in your undead body. Then I could hear the hounds barking outside. A pack of them with an alpha leader leading the pack. They sounded strange, evil somehow. Murder, blood, and death. Frankenstein's monster crashed through the door, the Templar trying to hold it off, but to no avail. The monster rips the head off one Templar with its spine still intact with his right hand. With its left hand, it holds the face of another Templar. It closes its fist, turning the Templar's entire head into a disgusting mush. The green-skinned monster began to use a spinal cord with the head as a whip-like weapon and smashes many Templars to pieces with it. Holmes grabs Jekyll in the face with 5 fingers to make him mad, hoping he will turn the timid Jekyll into the monstrous hide. but it's not working. I am aiming at the monster, but I can't get a clean shot. Crap. The monster is surrounded by too many Templars. The monster uses the spine to pierce 3 Templars like a barbecue stick. Sherlock sneezes Jekyll in the balls. He can see his eyes turn into Jekylls for a moment, but it's not working. Someone must have put some chill pills, grinded into dust, into the food Jekyll was eating to keep him calm. The monster puts both of its thumbs into the eyes of a Templar, killing him, then punching another straight through his chest. The monster has superhuman strength. One Templar stabs the monster with his sword. Green foul spilling blood spills out of the wound, but the monster begins healing almost instantly. I know what you did. You murdered your own wife and your kids, both the girl and the boy. Sherlock finally manages to piss Hyde off. He transforms. He is the size and has the strength of a silverback gorilla now. A big one at that. He lifts Sherlock and throws him through the church window. The monster smashes the Templar in his face, turning it into 1,000 small pieces flying through the air. Filled with the blood and brain, the monster pulls the sword out of its wound. It closes the hole with its regenerative powers and is now completely healed, and it begins swinging, spreading death and decapitated limbs all across the room. Fire! Try using fire! I yell as loudly as I can, but no one listens. And that's when we get into real trouble. Through the window of the church, undead zombie-like hounds crash through the windows. Dogs of war. I fill one of the dogs with lead from my machine gun. When it hits its brains, it finally dies. I grab a lit candle from the dinner table, throwing it at another hound. It begins to start burning, whimpering in pain, but it runs across the room, setting priests on fire. Freak, it's even more deadly now. Jen swings the Excalibur sword, cutting the hellhounds in 2. 3 of them down, but there are still many more. I can still hear the pack leader outside barking loudly. Even more are coming. I cut myself and spill a drop of blood onto a selected page of the Necronomicon. I have no other choice. Blood magic. I began chanting a spell that will raise the dead from the nearby cemetery. What the freak are you doing? Thana the angel, wearing full battle armor now, swinging an axe, decapitating the head of a hound, asks me. Don't worry, I trust him. He's a keeper of the Necronomicon, and his fight for us, wherever his true ancestors are. Jens, the blood of Christ, tells her. Outside, an army of undead zombies rise from their grave to fight the hounds. Jekyll is now frickin' pissed and rushes towards the green monster. Frankenstein's monster versus Mr. Hyde. Hyde knocks people over and tramples a few of them to death. In his mad dash towards the green monster, Frankie, fighting with a weapon like a coward. Clearly you're no match for my strength, or you would meet my fists against fist like an honorable man, you brainless monster. Hyde taunts Frankie. I am of immense strength, you rapist and murdering, split-personality garbage excuse for a man. The monster throws the sword away. And it's just movies and popular culture that has made me look like a mumbling fool. If you read Shelley's original book, you would know that I was most well-spoken and intelligent. You illiterate swine! Still dumb enough to throw away your only weapon. Hyde sucker punches the monster under his chin. The monster retaliates with a powerful blow to Hyde's face, turning his nose into a bloody mess. Hyde wipes his face and punches Frankie right into his flat forehead. Frankie grabs Hyde's arms and tears it clean off. Hyde screams in immense pain as yellow blood bursts from his wounds. Hyde grabs the sword from the ground with his only good arm, and he swipes the double-handed blade with just one hand, cutting both of Frankie's legs off. Hyde laughs. I wonder if they make wheelchairs in your size, you green son of a bitch. My legs will heal. Your arms will not, rapist. Frankie tears the other arm clean off Hyde's torso. More yellow blood spurts on the church walls and floors and onto onlooking Templars. Frankie begins to swing Hyde's own arm as a weapon against him. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself, Frankie mocks him. Hyde is filled with rage and now, without his arms, chooses to attack in a different way. He begins to bite Frankenstein's neck, tasting his green blood. Frankie grabs both of Hyde's jaws and pulls his face apart into two pieces. Outside, the undead hound of the Baskervilles approach Sherlock. Mastermind. Sherlock throws a grenade into the open mouth of the zombified Baskerville hound. The grenade explodes, covering himself in the monster's undead blood and guts. Only one man can be behind this, Sherlock thinks to himself, as he sees the hounds chewing on the undead corpses. The zombies smashing the dog's head with rocks. Come outside, please. I cannot face him alone. We are coming, I assured my brother-in-arms. Frankie was covering the floor with dead bodies. There was barely any Templars left to fight him. One of them got the right idea and finally threw a lit candle at him. Fire! Fire! It burns! It burns! Abdi transformed. Lubna commanded her only child. He shifted into his demon form. Me, Jens, and the blood of Christ, Sana the angel, Lubna the Arabic beauty with telekinesis powers, and the lizard man from the Illuminati lay waste to the hounds until there was none left. Where was the invisible man? I trusted that son of a bitch. He better not betray us. Balefire! Abby burns the green monster to death with one powerful fire attack. No! The monster burned to death, screaming in pain. Its flesh melted in front of our eyes, and he turned to ashes. We rushed out and killed all the hounds that were left. It can only be one man behind this. The mastermind. Colin Moriarty. Somehow he is still alive. Sherlock informed us of his latest deduction. Emissary of Yog-Sothoth. We left the Templars to guard the church, the few of them that were left anyway. The team consisted of me, the keeper of the Necronomicon, Jens, the blood of Christ, Sana, Jens' guardian angel wearing Sir Lancelot's armor after the death of him, and Sana's sister, the one now armed Sherlock, and Chameleon, a lizard from the Illuminati, the secret society ruling the world and protecting humankind from eldritch horrors. Or that is what he would have us believe, at least. Lubna, the telekinetic Arabian beauty, and my lover, and her son Abdi, who was able to transform into a fire demon, was with us, of course. Hyde was KIA, and the invisible man was MIA. I knew better than to trust a man who could not be seen, and Merlin had sent him in secret to spy on us. It was only because of my heightened sensibilities that I had even discovered him previously. Watch out, there might be an invisible man in there with you right now. He might be up to no good, I told Father Callahan, and the priest promised to keep a lookout. I guess not all priests were child molesters. Callahan seemed trustworthy. And then a rotten walking corpse approached me with its foul, stanchy body. It was riddled with flies surrounding it and maggots crawling in that hole that had once been its eye. Oh, crap. In all that had happened in the battle with Frankenstein's monster and the undead zombie dogs and the hounds of the Baskerville, I guess I forgot to put the dead to rest. I did just so with a few headshots from my machine gun, pulverizing its undead brain. I quickly took out a few more with my new John Wick-like skills and emptied my magazine. The dead had been fighting with us against the hounds, but I guess the spell would not bind them to my will forever. I took the Necronomicon out and cut Jen's hands. Only the blood of Christ on this page, made of human flesh and written in the blood of the innocent, would work to put the dead to rest in peace once and for all. The book page grew a disgusting mouthful of razor-sharp teeth, suckling up every drip of Christ's descendants' blood. But it worked. All the dead walked back to their graves, finally at peace. Excellent work, the descendant of Sherlock Holmes told me. Now I must face my ancestors' worst enemy, Colin Moriarty, the mastermind of this attack. He is responsible for the death of Jekyll Hyde and countless Templars. The Invisible Man might be working for him. Yes, it's time to end this. I can feel him deep into the woods. We're headed in that direction anyway. Let's go there and finish this fight. After that, if there's any of us still alive, we will meet this genius working for the Order and travel to Atlantis. I agree, Jen's the blood of Christ told me, holding the Excalibur. My life is in your capable hands, Lupnet told me, and kissed me on the mouth. Her son looked a little embarrassed, but I could sense he was with me. Yes, human, you are the keeper of the Necronomicon. For ages, my kind of lizard people of the Illuminati have been trying to keep it out of the hands of evil. You defeated Karim, the demon of Afghanistan, and Nyarlathotep, and the Brotherhood of Judas Iscariot. Now we must crush this Moriarty once and for all. Yes, let's not forget my sister Anna and Van Helsing, Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. All of them lost their lives keeping this book safe, along with countless others whose names we don't even know. May all of them rest in peace. I had a vision. Yog-Sothoth, the tentacled eldritch monstrosity covered in eyes, all-knowing and all-seeing. In Rylith, its stone prison, the eldritch god Cthulhu lay dormant, dreaming, sleeping. He must not be awakened, or he will end the world and doom us all. I saw the ghost of my father. He had been working for the Order before me, and so had his father before him, keeping the Book of the Dead out of the hands of evil. One of your followers carries a secret. He told me before he disappeared into nothingness. I wonder who and what he spoke of. But this was no time for dilly-dallying into the deep woods. We must go. So quoth this raven. Oh, my darlings, this is a great mashup. Shades of Extraordinary Gentleman and Fate Stay Night. I'm hoping I'm remembering that title right. I know there's a lot of them. And, of course, Lovecraft. I've got part 1 and 2 here, and I've got a few more parts coming up in the future. So, I hope you enjoyed this rollicking ride. It's definitely wild and quite funny in places. Have a lovely day, my darlings. Thank you so kindly for stopping by my chateau, my darlings. It does mean so much to me. Please, if you have not subscribed, as many of you have not, please do so. Give me a like so I know what you would like to hear. And comment. I always love to read your comments. And special thanks to my Patreon and membership supporters. Ciao, darlings.